Hey everybody, welcome to a VTOL VR video. I decided to do some voiceover to kind of explain what's happening in the video this time. So here we're doing a ground attack mission in an F-35. The only difference between the in-game version of the F-35 and the real one is that instead of rear elevators, these guys have front canards, but other than that, it's basically the same plane. Here are my wingmen taking off. You can see them lowering their wings and having their fan exposed here so they can do a short takeoff. They can't actually vertically take off with their payload on, but when we land, we can vertically land. So ground attack mission, we have a fleet of enemy artillery ships inbound to our fleet right now that we're gonna have to take out, as well as land-based missile artillery that is hitting around us right now. So that's gonna be priority, as well as an enemy airbase a little bit farther inland that we're gonna have to take out.
Ready to rearm and refuel.
So here we are, taxiing up, ready to take off. All our wingmen are in the air, and we're going to do the short takeoff as well. We're going to angle our fan to about 45 degrees.
40 degrees. Punch.
And this gives us enough forward and vertical thrust for us to take off from this very short runway.
And gear out. Targets.
So here we are using our
Armored
targeting
weapons.
pod. We're going to search for these land-based missile artillery units. There's 4
24
of them.
air-to-ground missiles here.
And you hear we have 24 air-to-ground standoff missiles that are just fire and forget. So you see I have the missile artillery locked on the targeting computer. I just go ahead and line up the missile, pull the trigger, and the missile will do the rest. Just fire and forget. I don't even have to think about it anymore.
What we got? There we go.
Here we have the 2 to the left. So we're going to repeat the process, target them with the computer, line it up, and fire the missiles.
Something over there as well. There we go. Alright, missiles away.
And now we just got to wait for impact.
That should be 4 artillery done.
And that little warning means that there's a missile in the air right now. And you can hear me launching
Alright,
chaff and
missiles
flares to try and
attacking.
avoid it, but it might not have been attacking me because it went away pretty quickly.
Squad.
And we can see right there that the final
Alright,
boom,
objective
their little
complete.
flash.
Artillery destroyed.
And our objective's complete.
Next we got a fleet.
So now you can hear that
so
missile
fleet's over here.
lock warning is happening again. That's about real spook me right there. So we go into a deep dive and try and pull up out of it. Launching chaff and flare. Our afterburners are off. We're trying to make us as cool as the target as possible so the heat seeking doesn't hit us. The chaff and flare hopefully redirect the missile. And we managed to outmaneuver it, luckily. So here we are targeting these battleships that are approaching our fleet. They are pretty durable, so we're launching about half of our remaining payload at them right now. And they also have anti-missile defenses in the form of high rate of fire cannons. The R2-D2 of death, as it's known. That they will fire at the missiles to try and shoot them down. That's why we're launching about 9 or 10 of them, just so that they can't do that. Here we are, you can see them firing their cannons. But there's just too much, and we end up blowing the ship up. So that's one of, I think, 4 or 5 ships that we need to destroy. But we've wasted over half our missiles on this so far, so we can't do this in one run.
Go for it. Do your thing.
Here we are coming around. We're going to expend the rest of our current missiles on this next ship. Then again, you'll see with the targeting computer, I target different parts of the ship to try and spread out the damage as much as I can. And we're just gonna go ham and launch everything we have left at it.
Alright.
Over T.
Here we are, just trying to confirm that it is dead in the water. kind of tell
Yeah.
based on just how much it's moving compared to the ships next to it that that ship is dead.
Yep. That boat's KIA. Alright. BTC. Aircraft carrier. The landing request.
1-1 tower, copy. Flight heading 133. Expect runway 35.
133, runway 35.
So the runway's
Copy.
telling me to fly at, giving me a heading to fly towards to meet the carrier, and then we can go ahead and land and rearm and refuel. And you can see I'm using my targeting pod to keep an eye on the carrier and try and line up my approach. And here we are coming in. Now the way you land on carriers is there's several cables at the end there, and the plane has a hook that can extend. So as I land, the hook catches on one of those cables and slows me to a stop.
Roger that. Alright. Reload all, please.
Affixing all of our missiles again in a pretty funny way.
Beautiful.
I am also equipped with 2 air-to-air missiles, but those are more for personal
Flares.
defense, as my role in this mission is primarily ground attack. There's another squadron that
Alright,
already
good
cleaned
aircraft.
up most of the fighters already, so I don't have to worry about that. Here we are, coming up to the catapult. There is a bar that attaches to a hook that protrudes out of the deck of the ship. And then we pretty much just punch it, and the thrust combined with our engines and the
Taking off.
flinging of us off the ship from the catapult gives us enough forward momentum to create enough lift for us to fly away off the carrier, just like that. Now we have to mop up the rest of this fleet. You can see there's 4 ships remaining, 2 little patrol boats and 2 of the larger battleships that are still approaching our fleet, so we really want to take them out before they take away our place to land. So again, just launching an ungodly amount of missiles at each ship. Luckily, we have enough on our payload to completely take them out with this run. And next up here, you'll see that the F-35 has a pretty cool feature to it, where missile tracking can be dynamically shown through the heads-up display. If you look off to the right, you can see a bunch of little dots heading towards the ships. Those are my missiles that the ship's computer is tracking. And you can see there the ships, again, trying to shoot them down, but there's just too many, and they seem to be missing anyway. You can see all the impacts and render all those ships
Man, they get
KIA.
fucked up down there.
They are getting fucked up down there. And the last little 2, boom. And that is the fleet neutralized and our fleet safe. However, I am out of missiles again, so we're going to have to do one more landing. And I'm coming in way too high and way too fast for this one. I think I catch the very last cable.
Welcome back.
I almost keep going off the ship.
That was a close one. That was a close one. Oh my god. X Games mode. Okay. Up on the fuel. Reload everything again.
Again. Reaffix all our weaponry, and now we're gonna go take out the airstrip deeper into enemy territory, which is their last stronghold that they have held out in this area. Here we are testing out the targeting computer's augmented reality function, where you see I can use the targeting pod on the bottom of the nose of the aircraft to essentially look through the aircraft and have the targeting computer matched up with my vision. It's pretty cool because it does let you see through the aircraft, but I prefer to have it on the screen personally. So here we can see there's armored personnel carrier, several anti-aircraft missile sites, and a radar structure on top of the control tower. So from standoff distance again, we're just going to go ahead and launch these 6 missiles way out there and neutralize all those defenses. Now on our radar, I also noticed that there were 2 fighters somewhere, and I spotted one on the end of the runway. I was kind of looking around for the other one. When I zoomed back in, I noticed that just as a glitch in the game, the 2 fighters were actually clipping through each other right there. And maybe that's why they never took off. So we go ahead and launch a missile at one of them in an attempt to blow them both up. However, unfortunately, it only destroys one of the fighters. The other one managed to somehow survive the hit.
Nope.
See, the one that survived now starts taxiing down the runway. And I know that it's going to get airborne and it's going to be something that's going to be a threat to us. So, what I attempt to do is use our targeting computer to target it while it's taking off.
There you go.
And fire one of my surface missiles at it, hoping that it'll take it out. Unfortunately, the plane's a little too fast and the missile just can't keep up and loses tracking pretty quickly. So I know we're going to have to do some dogfighting to take this guy out. I call in my wingman right here to attack him because right now he's the biggest threat on the field to us, and he needs to be dealt with before we can continue the mission.
Attacking that target. Fox 3. Engaging targets.
He ends up being close enough that I can take him out with my guns, so I go ahead and switch to guns and try and line up the shot right here. I do send a burst his way. Unfortunately, none of them contact. And we can see him pulling into a turn here. We send another burst, but he manages to avoid it by, again, another very quick turn. And manages to even turn around and start coming towards me. However, my teammate's missile ends up taking him out, and we can finish our ground attack mission now that he's dealt with. Here we find some enemy infantry hanging out in between some barracks. Just kind of standing there, so we send a whole missile their way. And then there's 3 barracks that they're standing around that we are identified as enemies, so we need to take them out as well. And with those 3 barracks and those enemy infantry dealt with, we only have 2 more targets to deal with, which are some hardened bunkers that are sitting just behind the barracks. Now, these guys are very, very hardened. I end up launching all of my ordnance at them right here, and I had my wingman hit the other one while I send all of my missiles at one. My wingman evidently has some more penetrating firepower than me, because my 9 missiles, or whatever I sent to them, the remainder of my missiles didn't put a scratch on the thing, but 1 penetrating round from my squad managed to take it out. So you see here, all of my missiles are about to impact, but no effect on target. It's still kicking. So I end up just having my wingmen use whatever ordnance they have to take out both of the bunkers. But you know, teamwork makes the dream work. Those bunkers end up being destroyed right here. And that's mission complete right there. All enemy threats have been neutralized, all objectives have been completed, and with that, we are TV.
096. Solid copy. En route.
And here we are, landing on the assault carrier we took off with. We are in full VTOL mode, which makes the aircraft handle more as a helicopter than fixed-wing aircraft. And personally, I don't prefer landing like this. I prefer full fixed-wing style aircraft carrier landings, but the game wanted me to land on this assault carrier to complete the mission, so we had to suck it up and just go ahead and hover on over to this thing. And that is a unique thing of the F-35. I think only the Osprey and the Harrier and other helicopters can take off on assault carriers. So it is a pretty big force multiplier. But that's mission complete. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched this far, good job. This game's really fun. I highly recommend it if you have a headset.